Okay, good morning, yogis. My name is Daniel. We're going to get started in just a moment here. Whew. Okay, so today we're streaming from my bedroom here in Baltimore. Got my two cats with me today. We have Oliver back here, and Cody is up on top of the bed. You'll see him soon. They are hyped and ready this morning, lots of energy. So I think that can translate into our class today. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Coming through loud and clear. We're going to try something new today. We're going to try and add some music in the background. I'm excited to see how that goes. So just go ahead and get started in a nice, comfortable seated position. Legs are crossed at the shins. Sit bones are rooted. If you'd like, you can always sit up on something if you have some blocks. You can sit up on some blocks. Place a couple blocks together behind you and just sit up closer to the front edge of those blocks. You can always roll up your mat as well, just rolling that up if you'd like, and that'll give you a little bit of elevation if you'd like as well. So, either way, blocks or no blocks, cats are having fun this morning. Okay, so wherever you are, take your seat, place the palms on your feet on your knees, soften your shoulder blades away from your ears, and just start taking some nice deep breaths. And we'll see if we can get the music going here. Okay, sounds like we're all set. Okay, take one last deep inhale and exhale. Okay, keeping your sit bones rooted. If you're still seated on anything like blocks or your mat, that's fine. Let's go ahead and inhale those arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Now inhale those arms up, chest up, look up. This time we're going to twist to our right. So twist to your right, drop both arms down. Both arms come outside that right thigh. Take an inhale and exhale. Let's inhale back up to center, both palms touch, and exhale to the other side, outside of your left leg. Take an inhale and exhale. Let's inhale both arms back up, chest up, look up. Exhale to the right again, both arms outside that right thigh. Take an inhale and exhale. Inhale both arms back up to center. Exhale, release to the left side this time. Stay for a breath. And inhale both arms back to center. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Take an inhale here and exhale. All right, we're going to add a little side lean to that. So let's inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, lean to your right. Try and keep both sit bones rooted, palms still touching, keeping your head equally in between both arms, lengthening on both sides of the body. And inhale back up to center. Let's go to the other side. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to lean to your left this time. Again, trying to keep that head in between both arms, lengthening both sides of the body. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Let's do one more side each time. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to lean to your right. Again, keep both sit bones rooted. If you feel one coming up, just root them both to the ground. Inhale back up to center. And exhale, lean to your left. Lengthening on both sides of the body. One more inhale. And exhale, come back to center. And drop your hands to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Okay, let's come into tabletop. So in tabletop, we're going to have both hands underneath the shoulders. Knees or hips width distance, directly below the hips. Tops of the feet are to the ground, with the toes pressing down lightly into your mat. Now with your arms shoulder width distance, make sure your wrist creases are lined up with that short edge of the mat, or maybe they're slightly turned out. Gently pressing the base of each finger and each palm into the mat. And we're looking for a nice long spine. Maybe you gently hug your navel in and up toward your lower back. Take an inhale here. And exhale. All right, let's add some movement. Let's do some cow-cats. So we're going to inhale as we arch our back, drop our navel, send our heart forward, look up. Reverse that exhale into cat, round the back, separate the shoulder blades, let the head hang heavy. And reversing that back into cow, arching the back, sending the heart forward, lifting the head up. And exhale as you round the back, separate the shoulder blades, let the head hang heavy. Two more times each side, arching your back, sending the heart forward, lifting the head up. Exhale, rounding the back, pressing the hands into the mat. One more time, inhale as you arch your back, send your heart forward, broaden those shoulder blades. Exhale, round the back as you draw that navel in and up. Let the head hang heavy. Now let's come back to neutral position in our tabletop. Now in our tabletop, we're just going to rotate our arms a little bit. So shift some of the weight into your left hand. Pick your right arm off the ground. Externally rotate it so the palms face back and just drop your wrist down to the ground. If your fingers don't come all the way towards the back and they just come out, that's fine. Just go to your capacity. And now from here, you're going to lift that right arm back up, rotate it internally back to where you started into tabletop. Let's do that on the other side. So we're shifting a tiny bit of weight into our right arm, lifting that left hand off the ground, keeping that wrist bent, externally rotating, dropping that wrist back down to the ground. Maybe your fingers face your knees, maybe they face out. Either way, let's come back to center. So let's inhale as we lift up, internally rotate, and drop that left arm down. Let's do that one more time, each side, shifting weight into that left hand, raising the right arm off, externally rotate, dropping the wrist back down, fingers face back towards the knees. And let's lift back up, internally rotate that right arm, release it back down to the tabletop. One more time, left side. Externally rotate, those fingers come back or out, dropping the wrist down. And now we lift that hand back up, internally rotate, dropping the wrist back to the ground. All right, so make sure you're still on your tabletop. Spine is nice and long. We're going to add some arm and leg lift here. So let's begin by extending that left leg back. Keep those left toes facing the ground. Leg is nice and long. And extend that right arm forward. Right palm faces in. Stay for a breath. Take an inhale. And exhale, release both down to the mat into tabletop. Let's switch sides. Extend that right leg back, flexing those right toes. Right toes face the ground. Extend the left arm forward, left palm faces in. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, release that left arm down, right knee back down into tabletop. One more time each side. Extend that right arm forward as you extend the left leg back. Flex those left toes. Those toes should be pointing down towards the ground, keeping your pelvis neutral. And releasing the arm and the leg down. Let's do that other side. Extending the left leg, left arm forward, right leg back, right toes to the ground. Take an inhale here. And exhale, releasing both down to the ground. Okay, we're going to add a little cat-cow to that same movement. So making sure you're starting in your tabletop, nice neutral spine. Let's begin by extending the right arm forward, the left leg back, and let's inhale to add a little arch, lifting the arm up and the leg up. Exhale as we curl the knee into our chest, knee comes into elbow. Inhale out as we arch our back into our cow. Exhale, we round in the cat. Inhale, extend out, arching the back in the cow. One more time into your cat. Now drop back down into tabletop. Take a second to catch your breath and let's move to the other side. So starting in tabletop, hands beneath the shoulders, knees or hips width distance. To extend that left arm forward, left palm faces in. Right leg back, right toes are flexed. Begin by inhaling, slightly arching the back in your back bend. Exhale, rounding the back, bringing the elbow to the knee. Inhale, extend, left arm out, right leg back. Exhale, cat, arch, rounding the back, I'm sorry. Inhaling, relief. And exhaling, rounding the back. Last time. Dropping your foot to the ground, back into tabletop. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Okay, we're going to press our hips back towards our heels. See if you can curl your toes under to start and see how that feels. So we're going to slowly press our hips back towards our heels and walk your hands back. Now, if this is too uncomfortable for you, you can sit with the tops of your feet to the ground. If you need some blocks, you can always place blocks in between both ankles and sit on the block. Just sit whatever way works for you. If neither of those options work for you, you can just sit in a comfortable seated position with your legs crossed, whichever way works for you. Okay, so from here, we're just going to roll out the wrists a little bit. So just lightly clasp your wrists together and let's roll them out into a figure eight. Just gently rolling, loosening up those wrists. And let's switch directions. And just come back to neutral position and release the arms down to the sides. Okay, now we're going to place the backs of our palms to the ground, just an inch or two above our knees. So back to the palms, or to the ground, palms face up, fingers are back towards the wall behind you. Now we're just going to gently rock forward and back, trying to keep the whole back of your palm on the ground while you do this. Just a gentle rock, forward and back, just at your pace. And let's come back to center. Release that. Now let's do some more figure eights. So gently clasping the fingers together, just a light grip, and just rolling in those eights. I like to think of this as an infinity symbol as well. And let's switch directions. And come back to neutral. Release the clasps of your hands. Set your arms down to the sides. We're coming back into tabletop. But keep your feet curled. So tabletop with your toes curled under. Arms are shoulder width distance, knees are hips width distance. Now, walk your knees in towards your chest just a little bit closer. So your knees are now a little bit closer towards your hands rather than directly beneath your hips. Now, with your toes curled under, you're going to press your arms into the ground and you're going to lift your knees up an inch or two off the mat. We're staying here for 3 breaths. Take an inhale and exhale. Keep hugging the navel in and up and towards your lower spine. One more inhale and exhale. See if you can keep that as we lift our hips up and back, starting to straighten our legs into our first downward facing dog. You can walk your feet back if you need to, getting to your downward facing dog. You can pedal out those legs. This is our first downward facing dog of the day. Just waking up the back of the legs. Still pressing the chest back towards the thighs. Feet should still be hips width distance, arms are shoulder width distance. Just keep pedaling out for another breath or two here. And come back to stillness in your downward facing dog. Take an inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale as you walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up, coming to standing. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. All right, so you should be at the front of your mat. Feet are hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. Now you want to try and actively draw the tailbone down towards your heels and see if you can draw your hip points up toward your front bottom ribs. Arms are down by the sides, palms face forward. You're gently separating the collarbones, broadening them away from each other as you draw the backs of the shoulder blades together. Take an inhale here and exhale. All right, here we go. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, place your both palms to the ground, bend your knees as much as you need to. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back into plank. We're staying here for 2 breaths. You can always drop to your knees in plank if you need to. Otherwise, stay up off the knees for 1 more breath here. Exhale. Drop the knees to the ground. Shift your torso forward. Bend the elbows back as you lower all the way to the mat. Forehead to the ground. Uncurl those back toes. Pressing the tops of the toes and the tops of the feet into the ground. Pressing the hips down into the mat. Elbows are back, drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together on your next inhale. Lift your head up and your chest up into your baby cobra. Drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together. Stay for a breath. And exhale, forehead to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press your hips up into your tabletop. And lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. And we're staying here for just 3 breaths. Actively pressing the heels back and down towards the floor, lifting the hips up, lifting those forearms off the mat, trying to straighten those arms as you press the chest back toward your thighs. Take one more inhale and exhale. Inhale, gaze forward, bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold. We're coming back up. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold, plant both palms to the ground, shoulder width distance. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back. We're here for 3 breaths this time. You can always drop to your knees if you need to, making sure your shoulders are directly over your wrists and your wrist creases are lined up with that short edge of the mat. Maybe they're slightly turned out. Stay for one more breath. Make sure those heels are behind those second toes. And exhale, drop the knees to the ground, shift the torso forward, bend the elbows lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl those back toes, draw the backs of the shoulder blades together, press the hips down into the mat. Inhale as you lift your head up and your chest up into baby cobra. Keep broadening the collarbones, sending the heart forward, drawing the backs of the shoulder blades together. Elbows are back. One more inhale. And exhale, release your forehead to the mat. Curl those back toes under, press yourself up into tabletop. Lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog again. Again, we're here for 3 breaths. Trying to hug those triceps in as you press the biceps out. That'll straighten the arms and engage the muscles. Pressing down to the base of each finger and each palm. Stay for one more breath. Inhale, gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale as we forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Well done. Okay, let's come to a wide-legged stance. So, start with your feet hips with legs with distance. You can face the long edge of your mat, either side. Now, one leg's width distance is about, if you need help measuring, you can extend your arms out. And if you were to drop something directly below your wrists, that's where your ankles would be. Now, start with your heels behind those center toes. Feet are nice and parallel to start. Now, with that, you're still actively drawing that tailbone in and down towards the ground. Place your arms on your thighs to start. Now inhale as you arch your back, look up, slight back bend. Now we're coming into a forward fold. So on our exhale, you're going to send your heart forward. Keep your hands at your hips for now. Come to about halfway down. Hug those legs in towards each other and drop your arms to the ground. Maybe they drop to the ground. Maybe you need a block or two underneath your hands. Maybe have your fingertips to the ground, palms to the ground. Either way, hands should be shoulder width distance. If you're on your block, stay there. If your palms come to the ground, you can begin to walk your hands back towards the back edge of your mat. And now once you have your balance here, start to shift a little more of the weight into your toes. But keep the backs of your heels on the mat. We're looking for chaturanga arms, so keeping your elbows and your hands shoulder width distance, bending the elbows as you need. Stay for one more breath. And exhale. Now if your hands are back there, walk them forward slightly. Lift up halfway, bring your hands to your hips. And inhale as you lift all the way back up. Just take your time. And release your arms down to the side. Inhale the arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Okay, from your wide-legged stance, just heel to your feet back in to hips width distance. And you can stay at the center of your mat. Now, with your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes, let's inhale, send both arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Now we're staying in our forward fold here. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Try and rest your chest onto your thighs. Now we're going to clasp into a yogi toe grip. So you want to start with two fingers, your index finger and your middle finger of each finger, and you're going to wrap them around the big toe of each foot. So right toes around your right toe, left toes around your left toe. And then once you have those two fingers wrapped underneath your toes, you try and wrap your thumbs underneath those fingers. Again, knees can bend as much as you need to in order to make that grip. Now, once you have that grip, your elbows are going to send out to the sides just gently, and you're going to just very easily start to straighten your legs, letting your head hang heavy. Just straighten your legs to your capacity. And now you can gently rock some of the weight forward. Softly press your toes down into your fingers and into the mat, and resist that by gently pulling up with your arms. Letting the head hang heavy, softening the shoulder blades away from the ears. Take an inhale. And exhale. Just release all that. Release your yogi toe grip into your forward fold. Stay for one more breath here. Okay, we're going to roll up slowly, so let your arms hang heavy, let your head hang heavy. We're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time. So begin to roll up from the lower back, stacking one vertebrae at a time. Head is going to be the last thing to arrive. Keep pressing those feet down into the mat. And once you're up, lifting that head up, tucking that chin slightly, and rolling those shoulder blades up and back, just releasing that. That looks great. Okay, let's come back to the top of your mat. Keep those feet hips width distance, heels behind the center toes, arms down by the sides, palms face forward. Actively drawing that tailbone down towards the mat. Take an inhale here and exhale. All right, we're coming into our chair pose. So we're going to bend our knees, send the arms forward, palms face each other. Arms are nice and straight. Knees are bent. Take a peek down. Make sure you can see your toes. If those knees are hiding your toes, you need to shift those hips back a little bit more. Keep hugging the outer thighs in towards each other. Stay for one more breath. Inhale. And exhale, release down into a forward fold. Inhale, let's lift up halfway, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, palms to the mat. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back. We're in our plank. Stay for your just for breath. Drop the knees to the mat. Shift the torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the mat. Uncurl the back toes, pressing the hips and the legs and the tops of the feet into the mat. And on your next inhale, lift your head up and your chest up into baby cobra. Drawing the back to the shoulder blades together. You can stay here, or if you want, straighten your arms, lift your chest, send the heart forward into your full cobra. Keep hugging the outer edges of those ankles in. Take one more inhale. And exhale, gently release all the way to the mat. Curl those back toes under. Press your hips up and back into tabletop. Lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now, from here, we're going to lift our right leg up in our downward facing dog, coming to three-legged dog. As you lift your leg up, make sure your pelvis didn't shift over to the left. Flexing those right toes face the mat. Now, bend that right knee into your chest. Shift your torso forward. You're coming into a modified plank pose with your knee up in your chest. Stay here for a breath. Take an inhale. And exhale, lift that leg up and back into three-legged dog. We're doing that one more time, but we're sending the knee to the outside edge of our arm. So bend that right knee into your chest, shift your torso forward. Right knee comes to the outside edge of that right arm. Stay for a breath. And exhale, press your hips up and back. Lift that right leg up one last time. Bend that right knee. We're sending that right knee into our chest, shifting our torso forward, and dropping the right foot to the ground wherever it lands, and then walk that right foot up to the top of the mat. Now we're in our low lunge here to start. Make sure both feet are in their own lane. So the right foot should be on the right side of the mat, left foot on the left side of the mat. Drop that left knee to the ground. Uncurl those back toes. Tent up on your fingertips. Make sure this right knee is directly over that right ankle. Press that right heel into the ground. Press the top of that left foot into the mat. And inhale, lift your arms up, chest up, and your torso up into your Anjaneyasana. Both arms are up towards the ceiling, palms face each other. Driving the pelvis forward, lifting the heart up. Still drawing that tailbone back and down. Take one more inhale. And exhale, release the arms forward and down to the mat. Now recurl those back toes under. Lift that back knee up. Now see if you can press your palms into the ground. Lift that right knee back up off the ground. Right foot comes off the ground. And send press yourself back and up into your three-legged dog. And release that right foot back to the mat into your downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side. This time lift your left leg up. Flex those left toes. Make sure your pelvis didn't shift too much. Keep it nice and neutral. Now bend that left knee into your chest. Send your torso forward in your modified plank pose here with your knee bent. Now inhale, press your hips up and back. Come back to three-legged dog. Left foot is still flexed. And now bend that knee into your chest. This time we're going to shift forward as our left knee comes to the outside edge of our left arm. Stay for a breath here. And release that. Come back into three-legged dog. Left leg up. And bend that left knee into your chest. Keep it central. Shift the torso forward, shoulders over the wrists. And drop that left foot to the ground wherever it lands. Wiggle that foot up to the top of your mat. And in your low lunge here, making sure each foot is in its own lane. So right foot's on the right side of the mat, left foot is on the left. Release that right knee down to the ground, uncurl those back toes. Tent up on those fingertips. Press that left heel into the mat. Press the top of that right foot into the mat. Arms come forward and up. Lift that torso up, coming up into your Anjaneyasana. Arms are nice and straight, palms face each other. Sending the pelvis forward, lifting the heart up, drawing that tailbone down towards your mat. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, arms come forward, palms face down. Place both palms on the mat. Recurl those right back toes under, lift that back knee up. Press both palms into the ground, lift your navel in and up, and lift that left foot off the ground, bending that left knee. Sending the hips up and back, coming into your three-legged dog. One more time for one last breath here. Exhale, release those left toes to the mat. And inhale, gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Now let's add a little bit of a twist here. Let's come back into our chair pose. Inhale, arms up, bend your knees, shift those hips back. Now, draw your hands into your chest, stay in your chair pose. We're going to inhale to lengthen and exhale, twist to your right, staying up. Bring some awareness back into that pelvis. Did your left knee come forward? Maybe you need to draw that left hip back. Now you can stay here, or if you want to drop the outside edge of that left elbow to the outside edge of that right knee, you can deepen your twist that way. But still be mindful, draw that left hip back if it came forward. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, stay in your chair pose, but come back to center with your hands at the center of your chest. We got to do the other side now. So inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist to your left. Keep hugging that right hip back this time. Stay here, or if you'd like, drop the outside edge of that right elbow to the outside edge of that left knee. Keep hugging that right thigh back. Keep hugging both thighs in for stability here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come back to center in your chair pose. Hands at the center of your chest. One last breath here. And exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold, palms to the mat. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back into plank. Drop your knees to the ground, uncurl those back toes, press your hips back towards your heels in your child's pose. Your version of child's pose, your knees can be hips width distance, they can be together, or the width of your mat. Big toes can touch or stay hips width distance. Place your forehead to the mat. Arms can be extended out in front of you, or you can draw them back toward your feet. Just stay for 2 breaths here. And just begin to extend your arms back out in front of you if they're not already. Begin to walk your hands back, pressing yourself back up. And we're coming back into tabletop just for a moment here. In your tabletop, let's curl those toes under. Lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Now inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, chest up, look up. Exhale, hands down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. Okay, so we're going to add a little balancing pose here now. We're going to work on our tree pose. So you can stay at the top of your mat. You can come to the center of your mat, whichever way works for you. Just make sure you're still facing the camera so you can see me if it helps. So starting with your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes, letting the arms fall down to the sides, palms face forward. Now just softening the shoulder blades away from the ears, still drawing that tailbone down towards the ground. Take an inhale here and exhale. Now, to come into tree pose, let's shift some weight into that right leg. Bend that left knee, left heel comes off the ground. Externally rotate that left knee out to the point to where your pelvis starts to shift back. If that left hip starts to shift back, bring it back to neutral and just externally rotate that left leg out to your capacity. Now, from here, you can bring that bottom of that left foot in toward your shin. Staying here, you can lift those toes off the ground, pressing into your calf. Or if you'd like, you can skip the knee, bring that left foot in and up, pressing into the inside edge of that right leg. Now, once you have your balance here, bring both palms to the center of your chest. And keep hugging that outside right thigh in as you press the bottom of that left foot into that right thigh. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Let's grow our branches out. Lift the arms out and up into a Y shape. Take an inhale here. And exhale. You can stay here. Otherwise, we're going to add a side lean to this. So bring the palms together above your head. Nice long arms. Take an inhale. And exhale, we're going to bend over that knee. So bending to your left, lengthening both sides of the body. Keep hugging that outer right hip in, pressing the bottom of that left foot into that thigh. Stay for one more breath. And come back to center. Wherever you are, release your palms down to the center of your chest and release that leg down, both arms down, and let's just shake it out. All right, we're going to move on to the other side this time. So, again, start with those feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes, actively drawing the tailbone down towards the heels. Arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Let's shift some weight into that left foot this time. Bend that right knee, right heel comes off the ground, and externally rotate that right leg out to the side to the point where your pelvis starts to come back. Bring that back to a neutral position with both hip points facing forward. Externally rotate out to your capacity. And once you have that, then you can bring the bottom of that right foot into your left shin. Those toes can come off the ground if you'd like. Otherwise, keep your toes on the mat. And if you'd like to go up a little bit further, you can skip the knee. Bottom of that right foot presses into that upper thigh of that left thigh. Now get your balance here. Bring the palms to the center of your chest. Keep hugging that outside edge of that left thigh in, pressing the bottom of that right foot into that thigh. Take an inhale here and exhale. Let's grow our branches. Send the arms out and up into a Y shape. And you can stay here if you'd like. Otherwise, you can bring the palms together. We're going to add a little side lean on this side as well. Arms are nice and straight. Take an inhale. Exhale, this time lean to your right. Just gently shifting, adjusting your balance as you go. Woo! Lost it there. You got it though. You still got it. Stay for one more breath. And come back to center. Release the hands down to the center of your chest. Release that leg down and arms down to the sides. Take an inhale. And exhale. Just gently shake it out. All right, come back to the top of your mat. We're going to add one more little series in here. And then we're going to add one more challenge before we finish up. So with your feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Let's inhale, arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, forward fold, placing your hands to the mat. Send that right foot back, send that left foot back. Your inner plank. Stay here for 2 breaths. Now, in your plank, you're going to lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. And just kind of like what we did before, we're going to lift that right leg up, right toes face the ground. We're going to make sure that pelvis doesn't move too much. Keep it nice and neutral with both hip points facing down. Toes are flexed. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Now we're going to bend that right knee again, draw it into our chest, and send that right knee to the outside edge of that right arm again. And we're staying here for a breath, making sure that right knee is off the ground, right foot is off the ground, toes are still flexed. And exhale, press yourself up and back, 3-legged dog, right leg in the air. One more breath. And exhale, release that right foot to meet the left. Let's switch to the other side. Inhale, lift that left leg up, left toes face the mat. Exhale, bend that right knee into your chest. Shift the torso forward again. Send that left knee to the outside edge of that left arm. Stay for a breath here. And exhale, press your hips up and back. 3-legged dog, extending that left leg straight, left toes to the ground. And dropping that left foot to the ground. Downward facing dog, last downward facing dog here. Inhale as you gaze forward. Bend your knees, exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Now this time, stay in your forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to rest your thighs. Rest your chest on your thighs. And we're coming back to that yogi toe grip. So take those first 2 fingers, wrap them around both feet. Both big toes. So right fingers around that right big toe, left fingers around the left big toe. And just starting with your knees nice and bent. Now, from here, you're going to release the clasps of your fingers around your right big toes. So, releasing the fingers around your right toes. Those left fingers are still around that left big toe. We're going to come up into standing from here, but we're going to work on that together. So, start to shift some of your weight into your right foot where your right toes are released. And bring that right hand toward your right thigh. As you shift weight into your right foot, you're going to try and lift those left toes off the ground. So, in order to lift that left foot off the ground, you're going to hug that outer right thigh in, press that right foot into the mat, bend that left knee into your chest, lift it up off the ground. And from here, try and lift your chest up. Have that left knee to the outside edge of that left arm, lifting your torso up, coming up to standing. Keep that knee bent, keep that yogi toe grip. Keep hugging that outer right thigh in. That's going to give you the stability you need. And once you're here, you can extend that left leg forward, keeping that yogi toe grip. Left knee can bend as much as you need to. Keep drawing the tailbone down towards your heel. Keep hugging these outer right thigh in, just like we did in tree pose. And now you can stay here, or if you'd like, you can extend that left leg out to the side, but try not to move your pelvis. Just go to your capacity. Still standing up nice and straight, rising through the crown of your head. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, bring that left foot back into center. Now, keep that left foot up. Release the yogi toe grip, keeping the left foot up, and both hands come toward your hips. Stay for breath here. And exhale, release the left foot down to meet that right foot. Whew. Let's shake those legs out a little bit, shake the arms out. Okay, we're going to try the other side. So let's begin by having our feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Inhale those arms up, chest up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, knees can bend. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Now, we're going to get a yogi toe grip, this time around the right big toes. So those right first two fingers are wrapped around the right big toe. Left arm comes towards your hips. We're going to shift weight into that left leg. Now press that left foot into the mat. Hug that outer left hip in. That's going to give you the stability you need. Bend that right knee into your chest. Start to lift that right foot off the ground. Take your time. Keep hugging that outer left thigh in. You're going to raise your torso up as you bring your left knee up. Try and have that right knee to the outside edge of that right arm. Once you're up, stay forward, inhale. And exhale, start to straighten that right foot out in front of you. Keep flexing those toes. Draw that right hip in and back. It's going to keep your pelvis a little more neutral. Stay here for a breath. Keep hugging that outer left thigh in. And you can stay here, or if you want to bring your leg out to the right this time, you can. Anyways, try and keep that pelvis neutral again. That knee can bend as much as it needs to. Stay for one more breath. And bring your leg back to center if it's out to the side. Keep that right foot up. Keep that right leg up. Release those right toes. Bring them to your right hip. Both hands on the hip. Draw the tailbone down. Lift that leg up a little bit higher. One more inhale. And exhale, release that foot to the mat. And let's shake it out. Shake those arms and legs out. Whew, well done. All right, let's come to the top of your mats and come down to a seated position, legs out in front of you. And with your legs out in front of you, knees are bent, feet are to the ground. Now we're going to roll down onto our backs, but you're going to take your time. So have your hands either on your shins or on your thighs, and just roll gently back onto your lower back. You can hug your knees into your chest. Just try and challenge yourself one last time here to take your time rolling back. And once you're on your back here, just walk your feet back underneath your knees. So heels should be underneath your knees here. Release your hands back down to the sides, palms to the ground, beside your hips. Now, with your feet directly underneath your knees, sometimes you can feel with your fingertips the backs of those heels. Press your palms down into the mat. Make sure your knees and your feet are still hip width distance. Softly draw that navel in and down towards the mat. Now we're coming up into our bridge pose. So actively pressing the palms down into the mat, pressing the feet down into the mat. On your inhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, and your chest up into your bridge pose. Try and spin your inner thighs in and down to prevent your knees from separating. You want to keep those hips with distance. Keep pressing the heels of your feet into the mat. Lift up a little bit higher, pressing the shoulder blades into the mat. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release from the top of your spine, through your lower spine. The lower back is the last to arrive. Now heel toe your feet out to the width of the mat. Knees fall into touch. And you can let your knees sway from side to side, nice and gently. And come back to central stillness with the knees touching. And heel toe your feet back to hips width distance. Knees are hips width distance as well. It's where we started. Now, keeping your knees bent, lift your feet off the mat so that your shins are parallel with the mat. Now, let your knees fall off to the right side, so just gently let them fall to the side and extend both arms out into a T. With your knees on the mat, have both palms facing up to the ceiling. And your gaze can be up towards the ceiling, or you can look over your left fingertips. Either way, try and keep that left shoulder blade on the ground in this full spinal twist. We're here for 2 breaths. Okay, let's inhale, bring those knees back up to center. Shins are parallel with the mat, feet off the ground. And exhale, release those knees down to the left side. And both arms stay out in a T, palms face up. Try and keep that right shoulder blade on the ground. Gaze is either to the ceiling or over those right fingertips. We're here for 2 more breaths. Okay, inhale, bring those knees back up to center. Exhale, release those feet to the mat. Now place your palms back down to the sides. Hug your knees into your chest. Let's get one last squeeze before we come into our last final pose. Just give a nice little squeeze into your chest. Flex those feet. Draw those knees toward your shoulder blades. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, let's extend both legs out, straighten both legs. Heels come to the ground. Arms down by your sides, palm face up. Let your knees and your feet fall out to the sides. Coming into our last pose here, our Shavasana pose. This is a time to relax, a time to release any last little bit of tension or any control over the breath. Just let your body come to a nice, easy rest here. Your eyes can begin to soften, or your gaze can completely close. Release any last little bit of tension you may have in your, maybe your feet or your toes are still clenched. Perhaps the tops and the bottoms of your jaws are together. You can keep that nice and separate. And just begin to bring some awareness back into your body. Maybe you begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and rotate your wrists and your ankles. Switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness. Take one last breath here. And roll over to one side of your body, gently bending your knees, keeping your feet on the ground as you roll to one side. Just take your time here. And take one last breath on your side. And try to keep your eyes closed or your gaze softened as you use your top arm to press yourself up into a comfortable seated position with your legs crossed at your shins. With your legs crossed in your nice comfortable seat, place the palms of your hands either on your tops of your knees or into the center of your chest. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. Oh, thank you all for joining me in practice today. I hope you enjoyed this. We have a new environment here. We had the cats running around, so hopefully they were welcome to you. Just gonna turn the music down here for a second. Yeah, so we'll still be streaming either here through my bedroom or I'll be back at the Emerald Aura Yoga Studio in Baltimore as well. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat. You can also email us as well. The link to the live streaming page should be in the video description. If you'd like to donate, the donate link should be there as well. So again, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this morning practice and just take what you made this morning through the rest of your day, and I will see you next time to practice. Thank you. Peace.